You're not someone to mess with.
I'm the nicest person in this room.
But you're also the most terrifying.
Yeah, I'm not a bully. I don't go around starting fights.
I feel like you were a troublemaker.
Everybody will look for every reason they can to be negative.
While Dave was labeled as a criminal, John Sina was America's sweetheart.
You were any good at your job, you wouldn't be standing here surrounded by security.
He's just one of those suck-up, kiss-ass baby faces.
You should be fired. I don't care what you think!
As Дейв Батиста's jealousy pushed him to the breaking point.
Everything's going to Cena. Absolutely living the dream. I'm still out there busting my ass.
It should have been me! And you stand up there expecting the business to be given to you. Who the hell you think you are?
There was nights when it's like a war zone.
Between you and me, who's better? Me.
Why are you so angry?
When I say I was desperate, I mean, I'm not joking, I was desperate.
This is a guy who saw so much violence, he wasn't going to amount to anything.
Often didn't even have money to eat.
3 people died on his doorstep before he turned 9.
I fought very hard. There was nights when I thought I was going to walk out the door at the end of the night and get shot. I was a bouncer from the time I was 17 till I was about 30, and I was broke and had no future and had 2 kids, and I was desperate. So I had to go borrow money from a club owner because I didn't have money to buy my kids Christmas presents. And I was so humiliated, and I just wanted to make a change, and I just didn't know what to do. I don't have an education. I don't really have any training or job training, but I have this great big huge body. They were advertising that you could come and try out to be a professional wrestler, and you go and you're paid like $300. And I left everything behind. When I say I was desperate, I mean, I'm not joking. I was desperate. I had nothing. I looked like a professional wrestler. I was always bigger than the rest of the kids, and I borrowed money and started training as a professional wrestler. And it was basically boot camp. And they just singled me out and ran me into the ground till I was throwing up.
The people you came up with in your class was John Sina.
We were all really bonded together, and we knew we were going to kind of move up together and be the generation of WWE superstars.
Finally able to feed his kids, Dave thought he'd left his tough childhood behind.
And I was very comfortable. I was making a very good living. People who grew up with me were just shocked to find out that I was, a professional wrestler, that I was speaking in front of people. I was just such an introvert. It's physical theater. It's very much a physical performance, and it was something I was very comfortable with.
As Dave continued wrestling, he decided that he wanted to do more than just use his body.
And I went and did a film as a favor for a friend. I love storytelling. I'm passionate about it. That's the way I wanted the direction of my career to go. My big goal is to be making films. I became obsessed with acting.
But someone else got all the opportunities, leaving Dave behind.
When WWE started doing films and commercials, and I noticed that everything more and more was going to Cena. He's very well spoken. He's good looking. He's educated. He's so all-American. But he's getting all these opportunities that I'm not getting. Well, that just seemed a little unfair to me. I didn't want to be, feel like I'm a second-class citizen.
Dave was heartbroken. He'd been put in a box.
I'm out there, busting my ass on these shows.
It should have been me! You're so cool you can't even show up on time. And you stand up there expecting the business to be given to you.
And so I simply asked the question is there any opportunity for me to do films? And they said, sorry, we need you here. We need you on the shows. They wouldn't let me do anything outside the company. I was stuck within the company wrestling. And I wanted to more for myself because I was limited within the WWE.
Dave was forbidden from chasing his dream.
And I said, well, if you're not going to let me pursue something that I'm really passionate about, then I'm going to leave. I walked out the door and they didn't think I was going to, and I walked out on top. I said that I will never go back to wrestling until I prove what I set out to prove, and that was that I could make it as an actor. And I didn't leave the WWE because I hated it. I loved being there, but I had to leave, or I would have been limited for the rest of my life.
Dave risked it all to break out of the box, not knowing he was about to face his biggest challenge.
In Hollywood, they just have a bad perception of what professional wrestling is. And so those are some of the kind of the walls that I had to break down, those stereotypes. I lost everything because I took a chance on myself because I have this passion for acting. I was really desperate at the time. I'd hardly worked in 3 years. I'd gone broke. I'd lost all my money from wrestling. Finally got an agent. I wanted to focus on not so much being an action star and being a cliche character that people would expect me to be. I worked with my acting coach. A lot of times I just couldn't even get into audition.
But one day, he was finally given a chance.
And my agent says, I really had to fight you to get you this audition. Well, I don't want to get your hopes up. Did my audition. And she said, congratulations, Mr. Drax. And I literally just broke down. I was just a mess. And it was a big deal to me. And I worked and struggled and worked and struggled. And finally got the dream role of a lifetime in it.
Dave had proven himself and decided to make peace with his past.
First call I made after I rapped was, I said, hey man, I'd really like to come back and wrestle for a little bit.
You're being inducted into the WWE, right? The Hall of Fame?
Yeah, Hall of Fame, yeah.
That's amazing!
In kind of the mainstream of Hollywood, you've got yourself, Dwayne Johnson and John Sina.
Yeah.
Is there a rivalry?
No, I don't think so at all. He's found a niche in comedy and he's just really good at it. I love him in comedies.
By breaking out of the box, Dave made his dreams come true, inspiring others like him.
But it's always my goal to inspire people, especially poor kids. My story of just coming from nothing and making a conscious effort to just not waste my life.
Just by you telling these stories, by telling where you come from, that inspires people.
I just have a big picture in my head. I know where I'm at and I know where I want to be. You just follow your dream even if it's day by day, and I want to be remembered for making the most out of my life.